evidence, Dr. Anthony Fauci helped deliver a coronavirus strain to America a year before the pandemic. Documents uncovered by the White Coat Waste Project show that in 2018, Fauci's goons went to the Wuhan lab, bottled up a virus, and then brought it to a lab in America. Then Fauci's team went to a roadside zoo in Maryland and grabbed a dozen Egyptian fruit bats, threw them in the back of a van, and then took the Egyptian fruit bats across state lines to the middle of nowhere, Montana, and then spliced them up with a coronavirus. Fauci Frankenstein bats on our soil a year before the pandemic. But then he acted all shocked when the virus started spreading. Remember? Our scientists said, oh, this is natural. Some pangolin sneezed at a wet market right next to the Wuhan lab. The government knew the Wuhan lab was playing with the viruses. We played with them there, too. We played with them here. We funded it. We trained Bat Lady. How many times do I have to say we trained her? But Fauci and his goons tried to play it off like they'd never heard this before. Just lock down, shut up, and wear a mask. Justin Goodman is the senior vice president of the White Coat Waste Project. You're telling me they grabbed a bunch of bats from a stupid Maryland zoo on the side of the road, drove it into the middle of the country, and started experimenting on them with coronaviruses?
Unfortunately, that's the sad truth. Fauci is a felon and a fraud whose bloodlust for torturing animals in laboratories was so unquenchable that they were rounding up bats from zoos, rounding up pet dogs even in some cases, and kept an island of thousands of monkeys off the coast of South Carolina just to torture and experiments. And obviously, as we saw with COVID, going around the world and collecting dangerous, incurable viruses and stockpiling them and manipulating them in laboratories is a recipe for disaster, and it's only a matter of time until we have another pandemic on our hands, courtesy of the NIH.
And so Fauci grabs a virus from the Wuhan lab, grabs a bunch of Egyptian bats from Maryland, and then mashes them together in Montana?
Not only that, but Batwoman from the Wuhan lab and Peter Daszak from EcoHealth were the ones who went into the caves in southern China and found this bat virus in the first place. Then it was shipped to this NIH lab in Montana. Now, let me add, the kicker is that this lab in Montana, this government lab in Montana that was overseen by Fauci, still exists, has a history of infected animals escaping, people getting into the laboratory, unauthorized people getting into the lab, and bioweapons development. Yet NIH is about to spend, or currently spending, $125 million of COVID relief funds to expand its bat labs.
Wait a second. We're using COVID money to grow more bat labs? You've got to be kidding me.
It's an accident waiting to happen, and we're funding it. And add to all of that the NIH nominee from the Biden administration, who's about to take over the NIH, just told Rand Paul in a hearing that she supports gain-of-function experiments on animals. She supports funding labs in China and other enemy nations that are completely unaccountable to American taxpayers.
Okay, lock her up. Lock Fauci up. Lock everybody up in Montana that's responsible. Lock up the stupid zookeeper in Maryland. Let's just try to save as many lives as possible and keep everybody out of these labs. Great work, great research. Keep the heat on these guys. The only way we're going to shut these dumb labs down is we expose them.
Thanks, Jesse. And visit gainoffauci.org for more information to join the campaign.
Wonderful website.